It's easy to grin when your ship comes in and you've got the stock market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts aren't too tight in the seat. Okay, Pookie, do the podcast.
Welcome to Born to Watch, where three old mates, an ex-video shop owner, an industry insider, and a black belt in 80s kung fu movies put their mastery to the test on movies that changed the world.
Well, hello there, fellow watchers. Welcome back. It's Born to Watch. I'm Whitey, and we're here for another sparkling episode. And today's an interesting one. This is a long and beloved movie of mine for many years, and I'm not going to go off early as I normally do, but it was definitely an interesting rewatch this time around. Caddyshack is every golfer's rite of passage, and it will be interesting to see whether this, being a golfer, is the only reason I like this movie. Let's meet the team. How are you, Gal?
Great. Looking forward to this episode. Direct from Bushwood Country Club.
Direct.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been back to Bushwood, but yeah, interesting on the rewatch, as you said. So we'll get right into that, I'm sure. But yeah.
They don't make movies like this anymore.
No, one of the old gold that we watched for a long, long time.
Absolutely. Dan, how are you, mate, up there on the land? Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Big week on the land. I caught a bit of the podcast. Thanks for Damo for subbing in for me last week. So, yeah, it was very entertaining. I thought that he did a great job on podcasting.
Yeah, Damo's a very good super sub, but it's good to have the team back together. Look, Caddyshack released in 1980, and with four comic geniuses involved, this movie was bound to succeed. But after a long-standing feud, the weather, a very loose script, and a penchant for the white powder nearly derailed the movie. After a 35-year love affair for me with Caddyshack, on this rewatch with a critical eye, I wonder if it held up. When did we first see this movie? Yeah.
I'm going to run with the standard. I don't know. It was 1980, so I couldn't tell you when I first saw it. I've seen it a lot of times. I know that. But do
you reckon it was in the 80s you saw it for the first time?
Probably late 80s, I think. It'd have to be around this. I'm sure it was around high school time.
Yeah.
But no earlier than that, for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? You got any thoughts when you saw it?
Have we watched this movie together?
I actually don't think we would have, to be honest.
I've got a feeling that it is just because you are golf lords, both of you, that you're so into this movie, because I need to admit straight up that I don't know that I've seen this movie in its entirety ever.
Really?
I can tell you that I knew every scene. So I watched it this week, of course, just to reacquaint myself. And I was like, I can't remember a 90 or a 100-minute stretch where I've watched it all. And it might be because of the fact that I think golf is very lame, Millhouse. So that might pretty lame, Millhouse. That might be why I haven't orbited around it as much. And Flipper was up here, obviously, over New Year. And he loves this movie as well. And he's not a golfer's asshole. So I don't know. But I knew all the scenes.
Yeah, I'd see I don't know when I first watched it, but I wasn't into golf back then. I didn't get into golf till a bit later. So I don't know if it was around because Stripes had been out. I mean, you watch Stripes into Ghostbusters, into this, the same sort of guys in there. So it was around that stage.
I think for me, it was definitely, I did see it in the 80s, but it wasn't until I started playing golf regularly, which really wasn't until I was sort of 18, 19, 20, playing with old King Brown and Udsy, that they were massive fans of Caddyshack, huge fans of the podcast, but huge fans of Caddyshack. And the quotes that they would say when we're on the golf course, I just found myself playing golf and then having to go and watch Caddyshack because there'd be put me down for a 5, or, there'd be like a quote every fucking 5 minutes from them about this movie. So I owe a lot of my love to Caddyshack to those two guys. But it's an interesting question which we will pose about whether the love of golf directly correlates to a love of Caddyshack. But we'll get to that. Anyway, here's the trailer, boys.
Welcome to the Bushwood Country Club. The membership's exclusive. You think I'd join this crummy snobatorium?
The help is outrageous. The madness is contagious.
Bad language, fooling around on the course, poor caddying.
But this whole place...
Caddyshack, starring Chevy Chase as Ty Webb,
Who is that disgusting man over there?
a sportsman who really knows how to score.
So, what brings you to this nape of the woods, neck of the wave? How come you're here?
Rodney Dangerfield as Al Czervik, a big shot
My dinghy's bigger than your whole boat!
with an even bigger mouth.
Hey, somebody step on a duck?
Ted Knight as Judge Smails, a man of dignity and a sense of fair play.
I've sentenced boys younger than you to the gas chamber.
Michael O'Keefe as Danny Noonan, a caddy who wants an education and gets one.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day. Good.
Cindy Morgan as Lacey Underall. She's got a bad reputation, and she's working hard to keep it.
You want to tie me up with some of your ties?
And Bill Murray as Carl Spackler.
Just a harmless squirrel, not a plastic explosive or anything, nothing to be worried about.
He's not crazy about gophers, but he is crazy.
License to kill gophers by the government of the United Nations.
And introducing Mr. Gopher as himself.
I said freeze, gopher!
Caddyshack. It's all about swinging,
Kiss me, you fool.
but not on the course.
Hey, you want to make $14 the hard way?
Playing a good game
That's he got all of that one.
and talking a better one.
Hey, I should have stayed home and played with myself.
Taking shots
That was a bum shot.
and making time.
We couldn't possibly think less of each other.
Controlling your drives
Wow!
and losing your grip.
It is! You! Out! Score!
The man's a menace.
Caddyshack, the comedy with...
Well, there we go. Some of the best quotes in that trailer.
Yeah, it
Is
covers
that the
quite a
trailer
few,
or the
doesn't
whole
it?
fucking movie? What? That was the longest trailer in history.
The 2 minutes and 30 seconds generally, you know, it's enough time for Gow to go out, get one away, come back, and he's ready to go.
Plenty of time.
It's whip it out, whip it in.
This is it. Okay, so here I've got over and unders set at 25. I think we know where Dan's at on that. We're going to go unders for you, Daniel.
Yeah, terrible. Unders for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Gow?
I don't know if I'm 25, but I'd be 20ish. I think I've watched it a lot of times. Not you know, it was every movie, not recently,
Yeah.
but that's the first time I've watched it now for a long time. But yeah, somewhere 15 to 20, I'd say.
Look, I'm overs. I'm well overs. I'd be probably up around 50, I reckon. that I've
Right,
seen of this
really?
movie. Watch this a lot and enjoy it, and still sort of enjoy it. It's funny, man. I don't know whether and we'll get into it, I'm sure. But is it a movie? Is it not a movie? I don't know. Let's wait and find out.
It's a time capsule.
It is. So, Gow, why don't you tell us a bit about Caddyshack?
All right. At last, a comedy with balls. Greenskeeper Carl Spackler is about to start World War III against a gopher. Pompous Judge Smails plays to win, but his nubile niece Lacey Underall wants to score her own way. Playboy Ty Webb shoots perfect golf by becoming the ball, and country club loudmouth Al Czervik just doubled $20,000 bet on a 10-foot putt. Insanity? No, Caddyshack. Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray, and Ted Knight tee off for a side-splitting round of fairway foolishness that does for golf what National Lampoon's Animal House did for fraternities and Police Academy did for law enforcement. With hitmaker Harold Ramis in the director's chair, the virtuoso comic skills of all four blend into a riotous hole-in-one for comedy fans of Caddyshack. The term golf nut takes on a deranged double meaning, and non-stop laughter is par for the course. So there you go, DVD cover.
Yeah.
Kind of covers everything.
It sort of does. But it's the synopsis reads a little bit jumbled. You know, it's a bit everywhere, a bit like the movie, really.
Well, the movie does
There's
bounce
no
around,
plot.
doesn't it?
There's no
Yeah.
plot. Let's be
No.
honest. And it's funny that they lead with the thing that was actually added to the movie at the end after it was all done.
Yeah, that's right.
So lead with the gopher.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Which I don't
look-
think the writer was too happy with. Well, not Brian
Well-
Murray, but the other writer.
No, the writer wasn't very happy with it at all. Look, okay, critical thinking. So the ratings here, IMDb have Caddyshack at 7.2 out of 10. Tomato meter, 73% certified fresh, and the audience score of 87%. So this is an audience favorite. And it's actually better critically acclaimed than I anticipated it being. And I'll tell you why. So, Morgs, here's a new thing. You would have missed it last week. We read a good and a bad review from a couple of reviewers. It's just a short little paragraph here. So we've got a good review from Joseph Gelmus of Newsday, and this was written in 2020.
Oh,
Caddyshack. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah. Caddyshack is an above-average example of the overinflated B-movie gag film genre because of its expert performances. Now, that's a good review. Okay. The bad review, and here's Davey Kerr. Now, we had him last week. He's doubling up on the bad reviews here from the Chicago Reader. This one was in 2004. The first-time director Harold Ramis can't hold it together. The picture lurches from style to style, including some ill-paced whimsy with a gopher puppet, and collapses somewhere between sitcom and sketch farce. That's interesting.
It is. Well, seeing they all come out of sitcom / sketch comedy, director included.
There was another review that said they should have hired the gopher to write the script.
Fair enough.
So, look, not very favourable with critics of the hoi polloi. All right, Gow, tell us about the cast.
All right, let's start with Chevy Chase. So, born Cornelius Crane Chase in 1943, so he's 80 this year.
Yeah,
Chevy. His grandmother gave him the nickname Chevy when he was 2 years old. But he got his start in Saturday Night Live, so he was on there from 1975 and was there for 2 years until 1976, and that's when he started his film career. And he was pretty hot back then. He was
massive.
He was massive. So yeah, look, Foul Play in 1978 with Goldie Hawn. Haven't seen that one for a long, long time. Do you remember that?
No, not for a long time.
And then Caddyshack in 1980. National Lampoon's Vacation, obviously, into that franchise as Clark Griswold. That was 83.
One of the great movies.
Yeah, awesome.
Still
movie.
today. Still holds up.
Yeah. And Fletch, 85. Fletch is a really good movie. Some great lines in that one too.
But you know, there's a new Fletch movie with John Hamm.
I've heard that. Yeah. I haven't seen anything of it.
It's been released under the radar big time. I've got to try and look it up. Apparently it's not bad.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be shit, but apparently it's not bad.
But yeah, look, European Vacation in 85, Spies Like Us at 85, The Three Amigos in 86. I watched that about 3 weeks ago.
What do you think?
Oh,
I didn't like it. I don't like The Three Amigos.
I think it just had a couple, had the iconic The Three Amigos.
You had a couple of scenes. What about you, Morgs? Where do you sit on The Three Amigos?
I haven't seen it for so long. I'm picturing the Three Amigos. That's all I can really remember from the film. So now I'll have to give it a review. I can't give you a.
I remember it didn't grab me at the time. I was not a huge Three Amigos fan.
No, and on the rewatch, it look, maybe it was funny at the time. They were big stars, the three of them, but it's not super funny. It's very slapstick. It's a bit of an easy rewatch. It's not not anything great. But look, moving on from there, the next thing he was in was Paul Simon video clip. You Can Call Me Al.
Yeah.
That was really
Great
big
song.
at the time.
Great song.
And then Caddyshack 2, 88.
Awful.
Never seen it. I can't remember seeing it.
Dan Aykroyd stars in it instead of Bill Murray.
Does he?
Awful.
Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah. Fletch Lives, which wasn't too bad. I think Fletch Lives was all right, wasn't it, from memory?
Yeah.
And then Christmas Vacation, and then Vegas Vacation, 97. And then, of course, later in his career into Community. So he spent, 5 or 6 years in.
That's a great show, Community.
Yeah.
The first 3.5 seasons, or first full 3.5 seasons is amazing of Community.
Yeah, it's good.
Really, really good. Loses it at the back end.
Yeah. And then he got punted from that anyway.
Apparently he's like an absolute asshole in real life.
No, that's come up a lot. And he's obviously had fights with Bill Murray and a lot of cast members, and was not invited back to host SNL after his years there.
Yep.
But look, a couple of sliding doors. He turned down American Beauty in 99, Kevin Spacey's role. He preferred to do family-oriented films, which, looking at that back catalogue, you can understand.
Yeah.
The role of Otter in Animal House was written for him. That role went to Tim Matheson, though, because John Landis didn't want it to become a Saturday Night Live film with all the stars, John Belushi, the rest of them in there. So, he went out of that, and that's when he filmed Foul Play instead.
Okay.
Turned down the role of Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story in 95.
That's a bad call.
Yeah, because his agent advised him against it.
That's a bad
And that was Tim Allen's role.
Yep.
But he was interested in doing it, and his agent told him not to. So
bad call.
Yeah, bad call.
It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
They both like the gear.
Yes.
Tim Allen he was in the biz, wasn't he? Didn't he used to flick bags before he became?
Well, he got arrested. He spent time in jail.
He was in jail.
Yeah, he was a perennial bag flicker.
Was he in jail for drugs or was it
drugs?
Was drugs? Yeah. I knew it was something like that.
Cocaine.
He was in.
Cocaine.
But yeah, look, also turned down the role of Peter Venkman in Ghostbusters, which went to Bill Murray. So
Fuck, he's turned down some roles.
Well, he looked at the finished film was nothing like the script that he read. So he read a script and said, no, I'm not into that. And then they changed that film on him. So
remember we talked about that. The original script was going to be set in space and all this kind of stuff and in the future. And it was really weird.
Well, it was supposed to be much scarier.
Yeah, the one was supposed to fly and all this kind of stuff. So yeah.
Turned down Forrest Gump.
Who is this guy's agent?
Yeah, he needs to be sacked.
Was also considered for both Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
Wow.
Both obviously went to Harrison Ford. So
Tom Selleck was also, quick, there's 1 degree quickly down.
There you go, Damo. 1 degree. But yeah, look, so quite a few sliding doors moments for old Chevy.
Yeah. Well, shit first names. You have to have a nickname as your first name, but we'll get to that in question time.
Next up is Rodney Dangerfield, who was a stand-up comic, did a lot of stand-up comedy for 20-odd years. I think, he started writing jokes when he was 15 and was on the road for about 10 years, but didn't do a lot until he got onto The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. He did about 70 appearances on that as the resident comic.
I think this was his first acting gig, wasn't it?
Well, then he got on to Saturday Night Live, and then he was a comic on that, and that's what brought him out. Yeah, and then straight into Caddyshack was the first movie he made.
Yeah.
So
he had no idea what he was doing.
No, they had him in the pro shop scene.
Yep.
They had him in there and he kept saying action and he didn't know what to do. He kept standing there until he had to say, right, go do your bit. And that's what he ended up saying for the rest
6
of the movie.
of these, 12 of those.
Yeah. And then he made up the bit about the bowl of soup. Like that was just ad-libbed.
Yeah.
So yeah, but anyway, that was him. And then not a lot after that. Easy Money in 83. Do you remember that?
No.
Back to School was the big one as Thornton Mellon in 86.
Great movie.
Yeah. And only a couple of other big roles.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, he was Mallory's dad.
Yeah. He's good in that. He's so creepy.
Yeah, very different role. Yep. And then Little Nicky with Adam Sandler.
Please, Adam Sandler.
But yeah, died in 2004. So his last major movie was 2000.
Okay.
Then we've got Bill Murray. Now we've talked about Bill Murray before, but his brother's obviously a writer on this movie.
Yeah, stars as
Lou Loomis.
Yeah, as the head looper.
The head looper.
Yeah.
But they all worked as caddies. The two of them and their brother worked as caddies. So that's, I think, where they got the idea of this from. So
and Harold Ramis as well.
And Harold Ramis. Well, they all got together. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi. So they were all original members of Saturday Night Live. And that's where they all sort of started from. Is
that a thing for you golf nerds in Australia? Have you ever played at a course where they appoint you a caddy?
Never played at a course with a caddy, but it is a thing. Actually, that's not true. In Singapore, I did.
Yeah.
But I've never played in a course in Australia where there's been caddies. But in Asia, it's quite common.
I was in Vietnam for a work conference and we had to do that. Yeah. They made you have a caddy.
Yeah. They're called caddies.
Plim's good fan of the podcast. He's very keen to play around with a caddy in Thailand. So I believe that's a thing.
Pattaya Beach, I believe.
That's the one.
Yep.
So, yes, Bill Murray, a lot of big roles early. Meatballs in 79 as Tripper. Caddyshack in 1980. Stripes 81. Tootsie. Ghostbusters 84. Little Shop of Horrors 86. Scrooged 88. And then What About Bob 91. Groundhog Day, very big movie, 93. Kingpin as Ernie McCracken. And then later on...
it's quite apt for the for Caddyshack humor.
It is.
Quite apt for Caddyshack humor.
And then later on, Charlie's Angels as Bosley in 2000 and Lost in Translation in 2003, which I think
it's a more staple. It's one of his favorites.
He won a BAFTA and a Golden Globe. Sorry, got a Golden Globe and a BAFTA as best actor.
He has an award nom. He has an amazing cameo in Zombieland.
Yes,
where he plays himself.
Of course. Yeah.
And he's so he looks like a zombie. So they shoot him by accident because
that's right.
He looks like shit.
They go to his house, don't they?
Yeah, they go to his house and they shoot him because they think he's a zombie, but he's not. Yeah. He just looks like shit.
Yeah. That's right. Don't forget he's also in Wild Things in 98 too. Who can forget Wild Things? But yeah, look, was considered for the role of John Kimball in Kindergarten Cop that went to Arnie.
I can't see that.
No, it would have been a very
Different.
different movie
Can't
with
see
him
that,
in it.
yeah.
But yeah, so he was also considered for the role of Ted Stryker in Airplane in
I
1980.
can see that.
Yeah. You could see his
But in
deadpan
saying that,
comedy
like,
there.
Robert Hayes is very good in that.
Yeah. Very,
Very good.
Also turned down the lead role in Big, but I think that's because he had to star in Scrooge, so he couldn't do both.
Yep.
But I mean, Scrooge was a really good movie for him, but
Yeah, it was big.
Big was
Big is big, yeah.
Ted Knight, good old Judge Smails. How good is he in this movie?
Mate, I don't want to get to MVP, but he's
He's good.
Fucking incredible in this movie.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
But he did a lot of stuff early. McHale's Navy, lots of TV shows. Gomer Pyle, was an Inch High Private Eye because he did a lot of voiceovers.
Wow.
Yeah, so he did a lot of voiceover stuff. That was his big thing, and that's what got him he was on the Mary Tyler Moore show, so he was the anchorman on there, and that was his first big role. And he got 2 supporting Emmys for that. But then he was on a. Do you remember a TV show called Too Close for Comfort?
No.
Very vaguely, I remember it, but that was his show that he was on, and it was eventually renamed the Ted Knight Show, but it ended in '86 because he was terminally ill, and I think he had cancer during the filming of this movie.
That'd explain something.
Yeah, but anyway, that was sort of his last big movie. He also has another cartoon. He did Captain Caveman cartoons as well.
Oh.
Captain Caveman.
That got yelled a
singing
lot.
my song sheet.
A lot of Chroma High.
Got yelled a lot from your veranda, Morgs. A lot.
Michael O'Keefe. So his first movie was the year before. He's in a movie called The Great Santini.
Yeah.
What, have you seen that?
No, it's got Robert Duvall in it. He's a pilot.
Yep, and Blythe Danner. What did he say?
What did you say?
Nothing. Keep going.
But yeah, look, Caddyshack. So sorry, The Great Santini was nominated for a Best Supporting Actor, and then obviously Caddyshack was a big break for him too in 1980. But after that, not a lot of movies. The Slugger's Wife, 85. The Whoopie Boys, 86. He played Fred in Roseanne in the later years, in 93 and 95.
He becomes a TV jobber.
Yeah. He was in The Hot Chick, Michael Clayton, and then the Law and Order Criminal Intent had a recurring role. He was
excellent hair. He's definitely one of my hair models from over the years. I really
shit.
It's so good. I really
it's
appreciate
great.
it.
It's just buffy and long.
So
You two
luscious.
look
solid.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me state a couple of things here. Dan, you have hair.
Yes.
You can do better. Yeah. Stop clinging. Right? Don't cling to O'Keefe's hair. Please. Continue.
Mate, solid hair. He was actually in Winning Time. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that. Yeah.
So he played Jack Kent Cook, who was the owner of the
original owner of the Lakers, who got bullied out of it by Dr. Burse.
Yeah. So that's the latest role he had. But he was also married to Bonnie Raitt. So he wrote some songs for her. So he wrote a song called "Longing in Their Hearts," which she won a Grammy for.
Bonnie,
mate, he's a man of many talents.
Triple threat.
I tell you what he didn't write. He didn't write the song for today's Kick-Ass credit song.
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
Interestingly, I hear we have 2 songs again.
Really?
Believe there might be.
Oh.
I'm gonna start reading the fucking the script run, show run, sheet run, running sheet thing. What's that now? You say?
Yeah, that thing.
But look, he's playing a soon-to-be university student. He was 25 when this was made.
They all looked old.
They did.
That D'Annunzio, he's 40.
Yeah,
D'Annunzio's 40.
Looks older. He actually dated Lacey Underall for a couple of years after the movie. Yeah.
Oh.
Is it Cindy Evans?
Oh God.
Yeah. But anyway, yes. So look, and he was actually Brian Schwartz in the Great Porky's movies.
Really?
Yeah, that was Brian Schwartz.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, I think that's it. The rest of the cast, look, we've touched on Bill Murray's brother being in there, Lou Loomis. So I think we can leave it there.
Yeah, so easy. Well done. Gal, what about some, got any pop culture? 1980? Any movies?
I do. Let me tell you the gross. So the gross of this movie was $39.8 million at the box office.
It must have cost $7.80 to make.
$6 million.
God.
And grossed 3.1 on its opening weekend. So I think that put it at number 19 for the year. So 39 million was number 19. So the big movie that year was Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
$549 million
Mental.
in 1980.
Mental.
It's crazy. The next biggest, 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton.
God, I love 9 to 5.
Good movie.
Great movie.
Made 100 million.
Whoa!
As number 2.
Yeah. So
that just shows how big Empire was.
Empire was 5 times the next movie.
Yeah.
Stir Crazy was the next one after that, 101 million. And then but then a good top 10 here. Airplane after that, Any Which Way You Can, Clint Eastwood. Private Benjamin, Goldie Hawn. Coal Miner's Daughter with Sissy Spacek. And Friday the 13th. And then the Blues Brothers rounds that out.
Oh, Blues Brothers is a Morg's favourite.
It
Watch that a
is.
lot. That's up there at Woodward Road.
Good movie.
I was and on the rewatch of this, I was trying to work out who made the more cash slinging bags on the set of either the Blues Brothers or Caddyshack. And I tell you, it's a dead fucking heat. Rodney Dangerfield, I think, may just tip it over for Caddyshack. That guy was
surely John Belushi. Surely John Belushi.
You would think
it's the ace in the up the sleeve.
And I mean, Carrie Fisher was right into it as well. Dan Aykroyd, apparently not a big bad guy, but
mate, I was watching a documentary. Funny you mentioned that on Empire Strikes Back, that they almost halted production because Carrie Fisher was on the bag that much.
Wow.
On Blues
Irvin
Brothers?
Kirshner, Empire Strikes Back.
On Empire. Oh,
Irvin
really?
Kirshner had to pull her aside, the director, and go, "You're fucking this movie.
Calm
You
down."
need to get off the bags." And so she got off the bags for production and then smashed him afterwards.
Well, we know that Caddyshack, obviously, they were partying every day on the set of this movie.
Mate, that was fueled by cocaine.
Yeah.
Caddyshack. The bunkers were full of cocaine.
Just full.
That was not white sand. That was cocaine.
Hitting out of the sand.
It was it. They were hitting out of the sand. Give you the tip. Playing out of the rough at night and hitting out of the sand by day.
All right, so 1980 movies. What do you reckon won the awards that year?
Oh, I know this. It's a real crappy award winner in 1980. It's like Altered State or something like that, or The Big Chill or something really lame.
You're close, Morgs. It's called Ordinary People.
Ordinary People.
Donald Sutherland. Sutherland.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
It's
and
Donald
it could be the name of our podcast. Really,
Definitely.
Right.
Not could be.
should be.
Should be.
Yeah, Robert Redford's directorial debut, that movie. So it won Best Picture and Best Director. But
Hang on. In fact, we are going to name from now on, when you talk about the cast, it's going to be called Ordinary People.
Good.
Yeah. I'm just putting that in the sheet now.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'll remember to read that.
Yeah.
Get right on that.
Do you know where it lives?
Oh, in the internet.
But anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on to 1980 music.
Oh, please do.
What do you reckon was the number one song in 1980?
I've done no research on the songs.
Was Blondie?
Oh,
Call me.
Oh,
Call me.
good. Yeah. Blondie was
track.
massive, wasn't she?
Mm.
Yeah. So number 2 was
Number
Pink
1.
Floyd. This is US, Morgs. I got Australia too. 'Cause
okay.
He's got Australia too. All right.
Number 2, Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall.
Yeah.
Olivia Newton-John with Magic in 3.
That's from Xanadu, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so, yeah. And Michael Jackson, Rock With You, number 4.
Wanna rock with you.
And here's one for you, Whitey. You'll get this one.
Night.
Number 5 is Captain and Tennille. The Captain and Tennille. You got it?
No, I don't.
Do that to me
Oh.
one more time.
Wow.
Once is never
God.
enough.
What movie is that in where it's the
don't know.
Asian guy singing it and he's singing it phonetically?
That's right.
It's like, I do that to me one more time. It's hilarious. It could have been Golden Singapore, to be honest.
Could have been. But anyway, Aussie Morgs, number 1, Split Ends, I Got You.
Huge. Pop plants.
Amazingly talented Kiwi brews.
Australians.
Australians, I mean, yeah.
What do you reckon number 2 was that year?
Was it Land Down Under?
No.
Australian Crawl.
It was a band called The Vapors.
The Vapors.
Dirty Japanese.
Oh my god!
I mean, the origins or the is it agreed what that song's about?
Oh, I don't know.
Or is it urban myth?
I'll take a picture.
Yeah, I think
you can tell us, Morgs.
I think it's about wanking.
Oh, because he's
yeah,
right, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, anyway.
Yeah.
I have to have a bit cut out
I
of my
gotta
last
say,
podcast.
if there's no other reason for us not to do a YouTube podcast, seeing what Morgs just did then is enough. We need to go video. We need to go video.
Apologies, obviously, completely.
I'll take a picture
of Japanese
of the teacher.
Yeah, so and that's what I believe it's about. Keep going, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I was just looking that up.
Is it, yeah? Can you
Oh.
confirm or will Gow stipulate?
Apparently, it's misinterpreted as that.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Yeah,
That's
sure.
That's why I questioned. Yeah.
Misinterpreted.
Yes. Lead singer Dave Fenton said, "Turning Japanese is all the cliches about angst and youth, and turning to something you didn't expect to."
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good on you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
All right. Where were we? Anyway, we'll move on. That's the Aussie music, so we'll go from there.
Excellent. Well done. Okay.
Yeah,
Question
nicely
time.
done.
Well done, Gow. I'm a bit lost after turning Japanese. Okay. So, do we think there's a correlation between being given shit names at birth and a nickname and being a bit of a tool? So I've got 2 examples. One is Chevy Chase and the other one is Eldrick Tiger Woods. Do you think there's a correlation? Is a shit name, is that just a recipe for disaster?
I'm just trying to think of any people with shit name that we actually like. None that really spring to mind.
I'm trying to think of other ones, other nicknames.
Yeah. There's not many others with nicknames. Ford
Ford
Fairlane.
The parent that shows their creative flourish with the name of their child has always amused me. That's for sure. So,
yeah,
Eldrick Tiger Woods. I mean, yeah, that I don't know what else he was going to do.
Yeah, he had to have a nickname, didn't he? All right. Okay. Question 2. What was the purpose of Lacey Underall being at Bushwood with her grandfather? Was she like on sabbatical? It's never really explained, is it?
There's one line in the movie where they said, yeah, her dad wanted her to broaden.
Be the busboys.
She wanted her to broaden. I think that's the line.
God. Tell you what.
Yeah, it's kind of just she appears in the movie, right?
I think that's a bigger question that you pose that we probably need to speak of later in, or this podcast is going to end very quickly. But yes, it is one of the peculiarities of this particular film.
Yes. Okay. So Danny Noonan, he looped for 2 people on the day and made $30 plus tips. And then his dad says, put the money in the college fund, which he puts in a glass jar in the kitchen.
Yep.
And there's 12 kids in the house. That money's not lasting, right?
Yeah.
What's the go with all the people in the house?
There's so many people.
It's just crazy. Kids everywhere.
And he's like 10 years older than everyone else. So it's like it was him, then everyone else was a mistake.
What was that? He makes some crack to his, I'm guessing it's his younger sister sibling, about a training bra. Did you pick up on that? It was because I hadn't seen it for a while. I didn't remember the scene. I was like, she looks like she's 13. What are you talking about, mate? That was one weird part of the movie.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have much else. This movie poses a million questions. But let's move into about the stuff that we liked about the movie, the stuff that we thought was a bit bad, and anything was downright ugly. We're going to start with the man on the land today. Dan, what do you got for good?
Yeah, as I said, this was a weird review for me because I could remember every scene, but not having seen it in a linear fashion before. So I guess what really struck me, amongst other things, was the amount of improvised scenes in there that were obviously just the actors just riffing. And if you think about improvised scenes in comedies, there's a lot of great improvised scenes in dramatic film, but in comedies you think of Steve Carell in the 40-year-old version and the chest waxing scene, which was completely improvised, and all the shit that comes out of his mouth. I mean, Knocked Up, they go on the, I don't know if you remember, they go on the rant about Munich and Eric Bana in the nightclub. And if any of us are going to get laid tonight, it's because of Eric Bana. That was completely made up. And apparently Steven Spielberg just laughed, thinking that Munich actually got anyone a root. Thought that was pretty pretty funny. But Animal House, John Belushi, I'm a zit. He just made that. He was bored on, so he'd had 50 bags, and he just chucked some mashed potato in his mouth and squished his cheek together and said, I'm a zit. But Wolf of Wall Street, obviously, with Matthew McConaughey, and he's completely improvised. But I just think my favourite, and what this film just reminded me of, it was Dumb and Dumber, when they're both in the car, the original Dumb and Dumber, and it's want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Apparently, Jim Carrey and old mate
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels, yeah. It said in the script that they had to get on the nerves of the mob guy that was with them, but they thought it was a bit lame what they came up with. So Jim Carrey just made that up on the spot, and oh my god, I thought that was just hysterical. So yeah, this whole film just reminded me of how good improvised comedy can be when it's done right, and particularly the Bill Murray and Chevy Chase scene when he plays through plays through his shack. Just that whole there is nothing to do with the movie going on there. It's just
that was filmed.
riffing.
That was filmed after the movie, so they were like, "Shit, we actually don't have a scene where Bill Murray and Chevy Chase share the screen, so we need to make something up."
Well, they'd already had their almost fight, or they've had a feud. They'd fallen out
on
SNL, and they hadn't talked. And then he said, "We we've got to get these two in the same room." So the three of them went and sat down and had dinner, and then just pumped out that scene. Which, you're right, Morgs, has nothing to do with anything.
Nothing to do with the film, and makes no sense whatsoever. But it's piss funny.
You can play 18 holes in it, and then smoke it at night.
If you ever want to riff or get weird, like friends for life.
So anyway, the improvisation of the incredibly talented cast was what really struck me.
Just to go further on that with Bill Murray, so originally his role was supposed to be a silent role, and then when he was going to do the role, then Harold Ramis just kind of went, mate, just go for it. Like, just improvise and do what you do." So, all of that's him improvising. A lot of that's him improvising. The whole thing with the flowers when he.
In the script, there were only directions in the script for him, so there was only like lines of direction. There was no script.
No, he made up the whole Cinderella story. Did all of that.
Yeah, he said, "Just give me 4 mums. Give me 4 mums out there, and I'll do the rest." That's what he did. Oh. You're lean, you're lean, you're mean, and you're not too far between.
I got a salami.
Oh God!
Yeah. So, but you're right, Morgs. That is one of the highlights of the movie.
What about you, Gal?
Well, obviously, I had Carl Spackler in there for that. As you alluded to before, Whitey, Judge Smails, he has some of the best lines in the movie. I know we'll get to them in notable quotables.
He's one of the best characters in the 80s, I reckon. Comic characters in the 80s, Judge Smails.
Yeah, it's just so over the top, and it's so golf country club.
Such a wanker. Yeah. I've met 70 people like Judge Smails.
Oh, that's what makes it, a country club. It's that kind of character.
Yeah,
those kind of people that are in it.
You guys have the perfect ability to compare and contrast, because Whitey, you're a member of one of the swankiest country clubs, I guess, in Australia. And Gow, you were a member of one of the shittest clubs in Australia. So you'd be able to almost be able to compare, contrast the experience of what it is to play public and country club golf.
Mate, you can't beat urban golf. That's blue collar, working class.
You can't beat wildlife genocide.
Oh, dude. Well, we won't name any names, but
we won't. There was an incident.
There was a big incident. We won't go into it. Yeah. And also, look, I'll say Chevy Chase, for all his faults, this was at his peak, and his character in this movie is so good. I mean, that opening scene when him and Danny are walking down the fairway and they're having a conversation that's completely separate. They're both talking about different things. It's just so funny.
But that's an eye into what the whole movie is.
Yes,
right?
yes. But just his timing and everything, tremendous slash. Like he's so good. He's just so good in this role.
I'm sorry, yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
Yeah, so that's my good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got Smails. I think Smails is just incredible. Every time he opens his mouth, I'm on the border of peeing my pants. I think when Al Czervik turns up and his entrance into the country club, the pro shop, then the golf scene where, 4, should have called 2, right? And then let's dance. Like that whole thing into then the dinner scene where when he's like comes in, he's got his entourage and he's just, making the quips and it's like, you want to earn $14 the hard way? And you go, you would have been pretty good. You would have been a pretty good looking woman, before electricity. Like it's just like a quip after quip after quip after quip.
That's just his stand-up routine,
For sure,
and that's just him coming in and throwing everything out there. Yeah. And that's the way he goes through it. So that adds that real dimension to the movie. That character's so funny. And actually, I've got to add his dancing. His dancing's the best. That is the good.
His dancing is so good.
Oh, it's great.
It's next level good. I love Mitch Cumstein. Just out of from nowhere. You don't know what the name's going to be. He goes, yeah, his name. It was Mitch Cumstein. And I'm just waiting for someone to go, do you mean Cumstein?
God.
And you look at just Lacey. Like, let's be honest here. Like, she's a rare rough diamond in a pool of sludge. Really, like she just shines brighter than anything. But yeah, look, the comic genius, it's just obvious that this movie was 85% ad-libbed, and it shows that from a positive and a negative perspective. Like it's how good it can be and how bad it can be, because it's a bit of a hot mess, to be honest. Which I guess we go into the bad, and I'll start. I've got it's a hot mess. The movie, watching it this time, there's not a hell of a lot of plot. There's not a hell of it's skit to skit to skit, and I don't have an issue with that, but
it's just like a sitcom, isn't it?
It's like a stretch. That's why I said, is this a movie? It just seems to be just sketch to sketch to sketch. There's no backbone to the film, which I have no issue with. But if I'm looking at it from a critical eye, then that's what I think. I also think that D'Annunzio's golf get-up is horrendous. A long sleeve red button-up shirt
with the buttons down.
Yeah, with the buttons down. I think everything about D'Annunzio annoys me.
And his swing's not terribly good. But I love how he throws the cigarette. He walks up there and throws the cigarette on the ground.
He's smoking in every single scene. He's serving behind the bar in the country club.
That's right.
Smoking. He's the best. He is the best, but he annoys me so much. Yeah. What about you, Morgs? What do you got for bad?
Yeah, I mentioned before, watching this made me realise I hadn't actually seen the movie, if at all, ever with everything together. I spent the first half going, what the fuck is happening here? Like I could enjoy the odd scene, when I knew where I was and got my bearings. But other than that, I just thought, have I been duped my whole life? Like, what is this movie about? I get no idea. And then it was obviously brought back by a lot of the funny moments and performances. But yeah, Chevy Chase, like I agree, it kind of set up the characters that you become renowned for, especially Fletch. So you can see a lot of that in this performance. But I just was like, who is this guy and why is he in the movie? And what has he got to do with anything? And do I like him or do I dislike him? And just that there was that constantly. And Bill Murray was just apparently was only on set for 5 or 6 days doing his part of the film. And that makes a lot of sense because it's a complete, the whole Gopher thing. It's like, how was this even part of the movie? It was, but learning later on, that it was tacked on. So yeah, for me, the bad, I don't know, bad and good was the fact that it was just using the exploiting the comic talents of all these actors that would go on to be brilliant. But as far as a coherent screenwriter or script, just wasn't required. Just not as a Sid dial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there, Morgs.
You got anything else to add to that, Gow?
To bad?
To bad, yeah.
I'm going to say Bushwood's not much of a country club.
The worst greens I've ever seen.
There was in someone's backyard, a lot of that putting. Like,
It actually looks like when Cromer Golf Club lost their 18 greens because of the ineptitude of the green keeper. And that's what they look like. The greens were horrific.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Yeah.
And then it's right beside the freeway. The cars are driving by like it's...
And Maggie's living on the course.
Yes. That was really weird when she comes out in the nightgown, right?
But
she's
not
running
only
around
that,
the 18th green.
when Danny's about to go to Pound Town and D'Annunzio, the pervert's jumping up on the trampoline or jumping up from the ground and he's on the course. And he just pulls the
Oh, man.
Oh, Maggie.
I'll give you that in the bad that Danny Noonan's a bit of a creep throughout the movie. He sucks up to Judge Smails lot and then has no concern for his girlfriend sitting beside the pool at all.
No. All right, anything for ugly?
No, I think we've covered it. Well, I've covered everything.
I've got one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got one, but you go, Matthew.
No, you go, Dan.
I was just going to say, and it leads into Film School for Fuckwits this year, but do you consider this a sports movie?
I'm going to say yes with a long bow.
Yeah, I think so. I'm happy to call it a sports movie, and I think the fact that you guys know it a lot better than me and enjoy golf, and the fact that King Brown and Uzi were right into it and were golf nerds back in the day as well. So for me, it's a golf movie, it's a sports movie. But as far as sports movies go, does this have the ugliest athletic performances of any sports movie you've ever seen? So I'm going to leave it there. I'm just some of the swings golf is a shit game anyway. But even Michael O'Keefe, who I'm guessing they were trying to say had a good swing.
He's got the best swing in the. Movie by far.
It's a pretty swing, but it feels a bit like my pretty swing. I reckon he is just sending that about 7 fairways to the right every time he connects. There's he's. Me, Phil Mickelson, and Michael O'Keefe all go up and tee off. There's only one bloke that's hitting it straight, and it's not me or Mr. O'Keefe. So I think that, I'm going to discuss that in film school further, but yes, definitely question some of the golf prowess.
I've got one ugly. I've got Maggie's accent. She's American, that girl. And apparently in the script, she's supposed to be a Irish exchange student. It's never mentioned. There is no need for her to be an Irish exchange student. There is no need for her to do an Irish accent that is horrific. Like it's right up there with Mel Gibson's Scottish accent in Braveheart. It's bad.
But this is again where they've cut the story. They've cut part of the story out, and so they've said, "Oh, she's going to be an exchange student," and then they haven't pulled through that part of the movie. So she's just some sort of weird character there, living at the golf course.
Horrific. All right, I think we're done.
I'd like to talk more about that later.
It's time for Quickfire with Dan. Take it away.
Thank you. Anyone new to the podcast, this is where we just go through really quickly and don't let me waffle on. But we look at a couple of categories and these guys riff on it for me. The first one in Quickfire is That's Not a Knife, for a scene that has passed over into popular culture. I reckon there's a few in this. G-Man, what do you think?
Well, definitely the scene we talked about between Chevy Chase and Bill Murray. I think there's quite a few quotes, and particularly for us, that have come out. We have to like Billy Baru is one that we use a lot.
Oh, Billy.
That gets one out. I've lost one in my head.
There's one major one that Rodney Dangerfield professors when he's in the dining hall that I reckon I say every week to you.
Oh, did anyone step on a duck?
Somebody step on a duck?
I'd forgotten where the origins of that. It's so de rigueur. So yeah, look, that has managed to seamlessly pass into popular culture because I say it and didn't remember that it was Rodney Dangerfield who immortalised it. So yeah, that's for me. Any others you can think of?
I'm going to say the other one is Be the Ball, Danny. Anybody that's a golfer
definitely
has said Be the Ball, Danny, and it gets said I think every golf course every weekend if you hit a good shot.
I've got about 100, but I think the three that I use all the time put me down for a 5. Right?
Yes,
I use that all the time, and that's another King, Brown, and Uzi. Tremendous slouch.
Yeah,
Don't sell yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch.
You use that a lot.
And the other one is The judge. He's so good. Put me down for a 5.
You know, another one I say a lot too. He's a good caddy. He's a good kid.
He's a good caddy, good kid. Yeah,
He's a good caddy. He's a good kid.
Yeah, good caddy, good kid. That's another King Brown.
You take drugs, Danny, every day.
Every day.
All right, nice one. Moving along. Hey, Derek, Spreckensy Dick for the biggest knobhead character in the film. Any particular standouts for you guys?
I've got Smails.
I've
got Smails, but he's the best.
Yeah.
He's a tool, but he is the best.
Absolutely agree. I think it's probably very close to the original Derek from Step Brothers as we've had. So,
God.
Excellent.
I've got old double farts himself, Spalding Smails.
Spalding.
Just hopeless, terrible.
You're going to play golf, and you're going to like it.
I want a hamburger. I want a hot dog.
You'll have nothing, and you'll like it.
Oh, he's a knob.
$50. $50 the Smails kid picks his nose.
You're on. Double it up and he eats it. Oh, so good.
Oh, my God.
Excellent. All right, moving along. Jennifer Jason Leigh in Backdraft for the actor or actors that figure in another movie. Hands down agree. Not once. There's no seam. There's nothing that links any of these characters together. They're all just off on their own trip, and it's brilliant. So,
But what about Rodney Dangerfield's entourage?
Wang.
Yeah, but the others that are just hanging around. There's Wang who he's playing golf with at the start, and then the rest of them are just hanging around. And then he goes to the dinner, and there's just all these people following him in.
Yeah, he's Adrian Grenier.
He is. He's got Turtle in the background. Yes, so that's who I'll put up there for that.
Yeah, good
fantastic, good one. Ripley running. Now, I'm going to pause on Ripley running in this one because I want to pick it back up in film school for F-Wits. So, but there are lots of standouts, so we can riff on that. Robot Sentries, again from the movie Aliens, for a scene that you would want to see that would explain a bit more for the story. Personally, there is no story, so I don't know what more you could explain. Like, I don't. Yeah, if you have something to add, please enlighten me.
I could have had a little bit more of Lacey.
She was excellent and very good.
Do you know, funny story about Lacey is that our good friend of the podcast, King Brown, that he didn't know that she got her boobs out till he was about 27, because the only copy that he would watch was his VHS copy that he taped off the TV, and she didn't get her boobs out. So when he well, maybe not 27, but let's say he was 24, because I was still playing golf with him. He was old, and so his world changed when he found that. Yeah, spent a week indoors.
Excellent.
Needs both
reruns.
Needs both hands.
Woofy Ted for Whitey's Brad Pitt.
Hold on. I just got one more. I've got one. I want to know in 1980 who's making Al Czervik's golf bags. It's got a TV in it. It's got the clubs above out. It's got beer in it.
Yeah.
It's 6 foot tall.
I was actually
well ahead of the times.
I was watching it last night going, I'd love to design that golf bag, just the colour colorway, and just have that golf bag. It's so ugly. And just have Czervik on the side.
Hideous.
Oh, the other one that's out of place, sorry to get back to that, is the dolphin sound for the gopher.
Yeah.
It's just a cack. I heard it last night. I hadn't heard it for so long.
Yeah.
That's actually the same sound they use for the show Flipper.
Really?
In 64, yeah. It's the same, exactly same one.
There you go. Yeah. Bring in the heat.
Go. That's excellent. Last one was just Whitey's Brad Pitt for the actor that you would most like to do what Danny does to Lacey. Anyone, obviously, if we take Lacey out of it, was there anyone else that stood out as?
Yeah, Czervik's got a bit of a bird on his arm, the blonde in the red dress.
The younger one.
The younger one. She's all right. Other than that,
I saw a bit of why Chevy Chase was probably up for a few of those roles. He was a handsome dude back in the day. Like, he wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, after the roles he took on, you don't think of him as a leading man. But in this role, there was maybe a moment where he could have switched in and been an Indiana Jones or been a leading guy there instead of just in comedies. But yeah, that's
I agree. He definitely could have carried that for sure.
But it wasn't to be, Mr. Chase. That's it.
He's well done, Dan.
Nice
well
work.
done.
Everyone. Yeah.
Well, that's going to lead us into listen to this, Gal. What do you have?
Well, we've kind of touched on everything that I've got in there.
Yep.
The only one that I have that we have, I mean, we talked about Carl Spackler being silent, the Cinderella story, the dating between Lacey Underall and D'Annunzio. The only other one was that Harold Ramis wanted Pink Floyd to write the music for the film, but he couldn't get them, which would have been tough in 1980, I'm sure. But after an audition, obviously he got Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, Kenny Loggins.
So
good. I'm All Right's a quality
yeah, so he
song.
came up with that and he played it for the producers and they were like, bang, that's you.
Yeah. I'm All Right is a quality theme song.
How good's Kenny Loggins?
Kenny Loggins is so underrated.
So
I reckon.
many good movie songs.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Footloose, Top Gun, just amazing.
Yeah. His greatest hits would be right up there with Wang Chung's.
Oh,
yeah.
Everybody have fun tonight. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
What's her other one? Dance All Days.
And a dance all days.
Oh, I used to love that song.
It was me and you and everything we do. Okay, so Cindy Morgan, who was Lacey Underall, the oil massage scene with Chevy Chase was completely improvised. So she had no idea what was going on. So then when he spills the oil down her back and he goes to rub it in and she goes, "You're crazy." And Chevy Chase replies with, "That's what they said about Son of Sam." She had no idea what was going on.
Jesus.
Oh my God. That's what
I
they
heard
said
that
about Son of Sam.
that he improvised all that and she didn't know. So
Yeah.
it kind of put her off a
Yeah,
lot.
big
So
time.
they had to sort of stop and reset
Yeah.
because she didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. So we were talking about Danny Noonan's golf swing. Now, he actually wasn't a bad golfer, but he didn't play golf for 25 years after this movie finished because he was worried that people were going to come out of the pro shop to watch him play. Massive stage fright.
We touched on it last week. Didn't he caddy for someone? He came out recently and caddy for someone on the tour.
Caddy for someone on the tour, yeah. He did. I can't remember who that was. So anyway, the writer-producer Doug Kenny died after the film was released. So he fell off a cliff in Hawaii while he was vacationing. He was suffering from major depression after the movie because it was getting panned and he didn't think it was going to be any good. And the story that he'd written had just been slayed. It was nothing like what he had envisioned it to be. So there's no confirmation about what happened, but he fell from a cliff. So not very good.
He was one of the founders of National Lampoons.
Ah, right, yeah.
So he was, he was kind of a comics comic, and obviously knew all those guys from the everything they did with the magazine and all the National Lampoon stuff prior to the movies. So yeah, but I had heard that story. Definitely tragic. So ugh.
So most of the crew lived in a motel just around the corner from the set, but they were still late every day.
Yeah,
because
they were mad on the bags.
Oh man!
Well, I heard a story there that Harold Ramis stayed away every day because they were partying every day, and then till they'd wrapped it up, and then he
just
cut loose.
He had to be carried back.
He had to be carried out of the room early.
So the massive explosion on the 18th green at the end of the movie they didn't get any permission for that. And people thought it was actually a plane crash.
Yeah.
What happened? Like there was massive panic. They're blowing up the golf course.
Well, they had to build a special area that wasn't the golf course because they didn't want to get it all blown up.
Yeah. Quite funny. So, and one last thing. So the gopher, obviously that was done right at the end of the movie. They wanted to try and they didn't think the film worked, so they put the gopher bits in, and it looks different. And actually looks the best part of the movie because it was filmed in a soundstage after the movie had wrapped with different film stock. Yep. So it actually looks completely different to the rest of the movie. Like it's just the whole thing was a hot mess. It really was. Surprising it's as good as it is. All right. Anything else? Anyone got anything else?
No, that's it for me.
That's it.
Look, 1 degree's a bust. I didn't get anything from 1 degree of Kurt Russell. I don't think any of these guys are.
No, we got 1 degree of Quigley, and that's good enough.
Yeah. It is good enough. It'll do for this week. All right. So let's move into a notable quotables. And look, we could spend hours on this. I've got about 4. What about you, Gal? You want to start?
Oh, we've already touched on most of the ones I was going to say. Let's have a look here. Billy, one of my favorites. We use that a lot. Oh, of course. I bet you're slicing the woods. $100. Gambling is illegal, sir, at Bushwood. And I never slice.
Yeah, so good. I've got, you've already said it, I want a hamburger, no cheeseburger. I want a hot dog. I want a milkshake. I want potato chips. I want You'll get nothing and like it. And the other thing is, you better come in till this blows over. What do you think, fella? I keep playing. I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while.
I've got one more. Dr. Beeper is talking to Ty. I thought you'd be the man to beat this year. Well, I guess you'll just have to keep beating yourself.
Oh, Smails. I've sentenced you boys younger than you to the gas chamber. Didn't want to do it, but I felt I owed it to them. And I've got one here, and it's more of a monologue from the one great Cal Spuckler. A looper, a caddy. A looper, a jock. So I tell them I'm a pro jock. Who do you think they give me? The Dalai Lama himself, tall son of the Lama, the flowing robes, the gross, the grace, bold, striking. So I'm on the first tee with him. I give him the driver. He holds off on wax one. Big hit of the Lama, long, into 10,000-foot crevasse, right at the base of this glacier. Do you know what the Lama says to me? Gunga, la gunga. Gunga, gunga la gunga. So when we finish the 18th and he's going to stiff me and I say, hey, Lama, how about a little something, for the effort, and he says, there won't be any money, but when you die on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
That's the best. So I got that going for me.
That is the best. That whole thing is so fucking good. So funny. Other than that, there's 1,000 quotes, and I reckon I would use 6 to 8 on the golf course every time I play, without a doubt. Okay, that's it for Notable Quotables. And we're going to move into the third best segment of the podcast. Film school for fuckwits.
Well, I've been downgraded. I have a week off, and now I'm the third best.
Well, don't have a week off.
Yeah, righto. Okay.
Not sure what's above you there, Morgs.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the song is, but
you never know what the 1 and 2s are.
Let's go.
So you're really the first best.
Fellow F-wits, the third besterest category we all love. Film school for F-wits. I touched on it earlier. Top 5 worst athletic performances in sports movies. So there's some pretty suspect golf swings in this film, but is it the worst performances? Let's hold your vote and just go through these bad boys. So first up, I have Michael Caine in Victory. So mainly from a completely unbelievable standpoint, he's an old 48 in Victory, not like a youthful 48 on the Born to Watch podcast.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine is being carried by some actually gifted footballers in that film. But 48, wouldn't say he's in his prime. Looks like a geezer who's never been on a paddock ever before in his life. So definitely suspect. Gow, this one's going to tickle. Next up, I had Gary Busey in Big Wednesday. He's got the lithe body of someone who enjoys water sports, but mate, none of the athletic prowess of a keen surfer. So would you agree, G-Man? I know that's a top movie for you.
Yeah, he's no Michael Catt in that movie or Jan Michael Vincent.
No, this is true.
But if we're going to go surf movies, Morgs, you could throw Rick Kane in there.
Well,
because he is terrible in North Shore.
I did think about that, and Gregory
Dre Bumfiler.
Gregory Highfield. No,
Gregory Hines. No, Gregory Harrison. Harrison.
Is it Greg? Yeah. Anyway, the
Lance Hamilton.
No. The other surfers in that film are suspect as well, but I chose to leave the exalted North Shore out of this list. So
Mia Peoples?
Mia Peoples. Oh, it's me, great Tony right there.
Yeah, Gregory Harrison it was, Morgs.
It was Gregory Harrison. There we go. So he also
Razorback.
is a massive kook. So next up, I have a tie for third and second in the same sport, but I couldn't split them. But I've got Rusty Crowe in Mystery Alaska and Rob Lowe in Youngblood. So if you held a gun against my head, I'm going to go with Rusty Crowe because he's never been on a set of skates in his life, and the way they edit that movie together. I actually don't mind Mystery Alaska.
It's a good movie, Mystery Alaska. It's
I enjoy watching it, but I also coming from a ice sports background like me and the G-Man did. So we became quite proficient at ice hockey on our travels. Would you'd agree with that, Gout?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we had our own kit. We had our own.
We were on the ice.
We had our hockey skates, and we were on the ice.
You were on the ice, all right.
We were a lot on the ice.
And we became quite proficient, so we could tell that there were some distinct mechanical flaws in Rusty's style. Allah, he didn't have one. So yeah, look, I think they were both pretty bad. But my favourite worst athletic performance in sports movies is actually another movie that I really enjoyed as a kid, but it just made no sense then, and it makes no sense now. And you could tell in the edit that they had so few examples of proficiency that they just had to use the same scene over and over and over and over again. And that one was Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf trying to convince us that he could play basketball. And I mean, the guy was 5'1" anyway, so there was that. But he did have the wolf superpowers, which could overcome that. But he was weak left side. He was weak right side. He was just terrible. So on the review, I think that they probably pip some of the golf swings in this Caddyshack movie. However, there's Rodney Dangerfield is just a standout. Like he's never held a golf club in his life. Chevy Chase has a go, but he's putting it for 4 fairways over into the right. Yeah, it was only really Michael O'Keefe who had a pretty swing, but definitely didn't. I didn't think he was getting around the field in unders.
Yeah, look, to be fair to Al Czervik, he had a broken arm.
That's true.
Oh,
that's true.
I think it's broken.
That's another one that gets used a lot.
Could be a fracture. So there we go. Nice and quick done this week. Yeah, top 5 worst athletic performances. There's a sub-genre of this particular category was worst performances by athletes in movies, but I'll save that for another time.
Yeah, well done. All right, very good. Now we move into our favourite segment of the show, the Stan Bush Kick-Ass credit song. And it was my song this week, but I think that Dan may have written one as well. Do we go for a double shot again?
You'll see that mine was not a huge amount of effort put into it, so I'll just do mine quickly if you like, and then you can get into yours.
Look, I actually did a proper kick-ass credit song this week. But,
excellent.
Well, let's take it away. So we've got for chapter 1 of Stan Bush Kick-Ass credit song, we've got Dan. What's the name of your song, mate?
It's called What the Fuck Was With That Accent, Maggie? And you touched on it before, and it made me laugh my tits off because anyway, so I'll take it away. And I said to Gow, I forgot the melody, but I'll try and get it out. So here we go. Stan Bush, in the theme of Stan Bush, what the fuck was with that accent, Maggie? What the fuck was with that accent, Maggie? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Was it your choice to do that accent, Maggie? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? It was shit. It was shit. It was so shit, Maggie. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? The worst accent I've ever heard, Maggie. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Worse than Quentin in Django and Rusty in Robin Hood and Keanu in Dracula and Don Cheadle in Ocean's 11, 12, 13 and Mike Myers in Goldmember and Nick Cage in Con Air and Kate Beckinsale in Van Helsing and even worse than Tom Cruise in Far and Away with Noel Kidman, Maggie. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, Maggie?
So, what was the name of the song, Morgs?
Oh my god,
that was awesome.
Oh dear me,
that was in the tune of What the Fuck, Chuck.
That one, I don't know what melody it was, but it wasn't what it was composed in.
Well, I'll give you the tip. Like, I've forgotten how my song goes.
You're going to have What the Actual Fuck, Maggie, bouncing around your brain trying to spit it out.
Oh, no, that I should have gone first. I actually...
just throw it into mullet. You got a mullet. Get the tune going.
Don't do that. Oh, my God.
What the fuck, Maggie?
Stop.
With your accent.
Stop. I'll never get it if you sing fucking mullet. Okay, here we go. I actually can't recall. Normally I sing it into my phone or I record it, but I didn't this time. Oh God, here we go. Okay, so my song, my kick-ass credit song is called Foot Wedge.
Shout out to please.
Okay. I never slice unless you're talking my backswing. I find my ball every time. If I hit it in the trees or the bushes or bunkers, it's a perfect lie and it ain't a crime. It's called the foot wedge. It's called winter rules, but I play them in summer. My trusty golf shoe never misses a shot. It's a foot wedge. Bad lies are a gunner. My Nike or my Nickley take my game to the top. It's a foot wedge, and I never miss a shot. It's a foot wedge. While the greenie smoke the pot, it's a foot wedge. While the caddy turns his back, it's the foot wedge from Caddyshack.
Yeah, solid. Good song.
Excellent. The foot wedge has served some of our friends proudly over the years to bring their handicaps down.
Some more than others. Some more than others. All right. So we'll now move into the star of the show. Gal, who's your MVP for Caddyshack?
I'm going to go with Judge Smails. Yeah,
Good
love
call.
the character. Just the way he brings everything to that, the facials, everything. He's got some of the best lines in the movie. I'm going to give it to Ted Knight for me.
Yeah, good call. Morgs, what do you got?
Same. Yeah, Ted Knight I thought was my favourite. Just shading Rodney Dangerfield for just more for what was going on. Like to learn that it was his first movie role was not unexpected because he was just on his own trip, but very, very funny.
Yeah, I'm with Judge Smails. Obviously, I gave it away early. He's a legend. He's one of my favourite characters of all time. Some of the most quotable lines in movies. Okay. Interesting movie, Caddyshack. My gut feel is that if you're not a golfer, you may not rate this as well as if you are a golfer. I think this rewatch, it was more obvious than ever just how much of a golfer's movie this is. But that's going to take us into the rank bank. And I've got a few things here for us to pick from. So we've got dancing gophers. We've got electrified bishops. We've got vomit-filled Porsches. We've got terrible Irish accents. We've got foot wedges. And we've got aquaturds.
I was going to suggest foot wedges if you hadn't brought it up, so I'm happy with that. Morgs, what do you reckon?
I like I like flatulent ducks as an alternative
that's a good
as
one.
well.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, but no, what was the last one you said?
Aquaturds.
I think it's aquaturds for me, yeah.
Yeah, look, I like aquaturds.
Let's do that.
With foot wedges got the song.
Yep.
So we'll go with
Aquaturds.
aquaturds.
That's seen as the one that stayed with me over the last 40 years.
For sure.
It's the most instantly recognisable, I think. So,
mate,
yeah.
the Jaws music.
Yeah.
When he eats it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's so good. Megan walked in when that was on. She was chuckling at that as well. Okay, so Gal, how many aquaturds are you giving Caddyshack?
I'm going to give it 3.25.
Okay.
3.25 aquaturds for me.
All right.
One of those movies you can still put on and watch. It's funny enough. There's some great one-liners in it. I could happily have that in the background. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it again, but certainly something that you can just have on the TV.
Absolutely. What about you, Dan? How many aquaturds are you giving Caddyshack?
Yeah, look, I think you nailed it. As not a golfer's asshole, it is difficult for me to rate it highly. I could watch several scenes in that movie for the rest of my life, just picking it up here and there. But as far as sitting down and watching it from start to finish, I think I'm Marie Kondoing this bad boy and saying a fond farewell and giving it 2.5 aquaturds.
Wow. Okay. So I am giving. This was tough for me because I looked at what I gave the Goonies last week and I gave the Goonies 3.5. And I enjoy Caddyshack a lot better than I enjoyed the Goonies. So I'm going to give Caddyshack 3.75 aquaturds. Now, Gal, do you want to tell us how Caddyshack ranked in the big scheme of things? And I'll just bring it up on the page for you.
I hope I gave this more than I gave Goonies. I think I gave Goonies low.
You didn't like Goonies, mate.
No, because I was going to say this has got to be better than Goonies. So Caddyshack has come in at number 29 with 3.17 aquaturds. Right below Love Actually at 3.19 US four ways and above The Lost Boys on 3 maggot fried rice. So look, look, I can see now. Okay,
Yeah.
not bad.
Well, you did rate it higher than Goonies, which you gave 2.5. You've
good.
given Caddyshack 3.25. So you've done yourself well.
You guys are going to get some hate mail.
Yeah, there's every chance there's some hate mail for this, but I don't mind that. Look, there's movies I would watch this ahead of again. I'd probably watch Caddyshack again before I'd watch Backdraft. But, I think it sits where it sits. I'm happy with my rating, 3.75.
I like the comedies of that era. This one I don't gravitate to like I do the others, strangely. So I think it's got to be a golf thing. I think it's just golf nerds just love it. So
but I really do. I really do think it is a golf thing, Dan.
Flipper loves it though, and he's definitely not a golf nerd. And I can't really think of anyone else that quotes it a lot. But yeah, the golfers definitely love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a golfing thing. Okay, so what are we watching, boys? Gow, what do you got to recommend?
Nothing this week. Haven't really been watching much TV.
Yep.
Got to find myself a new series.
Yep, fair enough.
Yellowstone's gone into hibernation.
Yep.
We're in the mid-series break, so not watching there, and finished everything else I'm watching so far. So
okay. What about you, Dan?
I've been watching fucking heaps, and I don't know why you guys didn't tell me about Mayor of Kingstown previously.
Very good.
Another Taylor Sheridan bit. What happened there? I binged that whole thing. Completely over the top, awesome Taylor Sheridan awesomeness. So that was great.
It might also be the last thing we see from Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, that's very sad. So he's obviously
Kate
Winslet.
No, that's Mayor of Easttown.
Different. Yeah, different.
Different. Mayor of Kingstown.
Also good. No, also good, Gal. That don't discourage any efforts for taking it up. But yeah,
Easttown's amazing.
Highly recommend Mayor of Easttown. I finished off Succession, not just for whatever reason I hadn't completed season 3 of that, and that was excellent. And then I watched the first episode of The Last of Us, which is
that was excellent.
Excellent. So
excellent.
If you take nothing out of this episode, and I hope you take nothing, but if you take one thing, go and watch The Last of Us. It is wow. Yeah, I knew nothing about it. Just there was a bit of hype behind it, and
it's a video game. It's a video game adaptation,
which would normally I would run to the hills away from, but
it's very good.
Yeah, wow. There's one scene in there, and it's almost like a one-er, and you're just like, how did they shoot this? Like it was just before the. Oh, anyway, I won't spoil it, but check it out.
Has anyone gone any further? Is it Tulsa Kings, Sly's new one?
I've probably done 3 episodes, and it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Gooby's loving it.
Yeah, it's been rated. It's been picked up again for series 2.
Okay.
I don't dislike it. It just doesn't grab me like those. Like Mayor of Kingstown. Just straight away, bang! I have to watch the end of this. Whereas Tulsa, I can pick it up, and it's fine.
All right, on Gooby's recommendation, I'm going to
Gooby.
Yeah. No, it's great. Okay, so Yellowstone, I'm plowing through it. Oh,
he's back. He's decided.
I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm deep into season 3.
Is that the opening episode of season 3 where they have the massive shootout?
The opening episode of
maybe not. Might be season 4.
So there's not a huge season 3 seems to be delving a lot more into the relationships. It's a bit more. It's a bit more romantic.
Slows down a little.
It's about Rip and Beth. You find the backstory about Beth. You're finding out about Jamie.
Right.
What's his name? The other cowhand.
Rip. Jimmy.
Jimmy
does rodeo.
Jimmy. Yeah.
It's I'm really enjoying it. It's sort of I binge it a lot. I'm watching 2 and 3 at a time. Watching that with Megan. Also watched a movie which I tipped into Morgs called The Menu, which stars Ralph Fiennes. And he plays a chef at a illustrious restaurant on an island that 12 people get invited to, and it's goes to shit very quickly.
Right.
Really good, really well written, really fast. Some really great performances in it. Had no idea what was happening, which was excellent. So it's worth a watch. That's on Disney.
Good cast.
Great cast. It's got a really good that Anya Taylor-Joy's in it as well.
Nicholas Hoult,
Nicholas Holt's in it. It's John Leguizamo. It's the Leguizamo-sons at the moment. So it's got a really good cast. It's really worth watching. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those ones I knew nothing about. I just heard that it's worth a watch. So
give
that a crack. All right, so that's it from us. we've gotten through another one, and we need to talk about what we're going to. We might give Morgs a crack at this one. He can select a movie very carefully if he'd like to. Otherwise, I've got a couple in the chamber.
Yeah,
we can pull out.
You never give me a vote, so I didn't chamber one. So you can have another go, and I'll make sure I'm ready for next time.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, we've done 2 comedies in a row. I've been listening to the groundswell from some of our listeners, and I think we might take ourselves out of our comfort zone. Morgan is going to hate this.
Oh God, it better not be a.
But I've been recommended to do this by 5 people. We're doing Pretty Woman.
Boom, 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 boom.
We're doing Pretty Woman, and I'm telling you, this may silence the people after we do a rom-com as to why we haven't done one. It may surprise some people.
I'm down with this because I know a bit about this film and the making of this film. So look, I wouldn't have gone out of my way to watch it this week, but looking forward to it.
But
it's
I've
one we
seen
can
this
watch.
movie heaps of times.
It's one we can. Oh, I know you would have.
Oh,
but it's one we can watch with the family. We can watch with the women. We can watch with the girls, and we can watch with our wives.
I don't know if I'll be watching it with my daughters.
If they're all the same thing. If they're all the same thing,
watch it with the girls and the wives.
Well, our daughters. We can watch it with our daughters who have daughters, and you've got sons, gal, and you might be able to, maybe watch it with Joshy.
Pretty Woman.
Oh, I forgot to say earlier, I just had a flash of when you guys were up here on the land and we were hitting the golf ball around out the back, and I absolutely duffed one, and Joshy G goes, "Nice shot, Max."
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was a highlight of all of the whole trip. Yeah. It was a highlight of the whole trip. Okay, so on that note, we will see you next week for Pretty Woman. Thanks for being with us. It's bye for now.
See ya.
You're on mute, Dan.
Toodaloo.
And we're going to leave that all in.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Born to Watch. To join us on our journey into some of our favourite movies of all time, you can find us on all good podcast networks like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and share with your friends.